volume 11 is where Answer to Job is, which is Religion East and West, I think, is the overall title of that volume. But Answer to Job appears in paragraphs 553 to 758 of volume 11. Now, we have been talking quite a bit in the last month about Edward Edinger, who interpreted Jung, and so his book, Transformation of the God Image, is basically a cheat sheet to Answer to Job. Okay, Answer to Job is a very intense book. John wanted to talk about it. John wanted to talk about it a few months ago, and I said, well, okay, we can talk about it, but we're going to get through about 1 page a week. and so we started about in early February on Answer to Job, and we started at paragraph 553, and we're now up to 610. Okay, out of 200, we're about 50 into it, so we're a quarter of the way into it. I've been studying Dr. Jung's work now for 30 years, and the reason that I've been so taken with Dr. Edinger is that he gave 2 lectures in the 1980s, which I've now transcribed, and I can give you a link to them. But one of them was called Encounters with a Greater Personality, and the other was called Individuation, a Myth for Modern Man. Okay, and basically what Dr. Edinger's position was that God fell out of heaven and into the psyche of man in 1500. Okay, at the time of the so-called Enlightenment, when science started to get serious and Galileo looked through his telescope, he saw that the Earth wasn't the center of the universe anymore, right? And in fact, he was run up before the Inquisition, Galileo was, and he was condemned by the Inquisition, and he went on to found 2 new sciences, including quantum mechanics is one of them, right? Which is one side of the unified field theory that we can't explain, okay? But anyway, but after Galileo's time and Copernicus's time, we've had many more scientific experiences and learnings, obviously, and medicine and so on. And so Edinger's point is that what happened at that time was a great amount of psychic energy was freed up for study of the sciences. And he said that those scientists believed that they were good Christians, and for the next 400 years, scientists still believed that they were good Christians. But by the time Friedrich Nietzsche came along at the end of the 19th century, he was able to say, God is dead. Okay, in other words, science had punched so many holes in the myth that had been sold to the Western mind by the church that nobody believed those myths anymore, really. Okay, obviously we still have a lot of people in the United States and around the world who believe them, and in other religions they believe their myths. But the reality is that science showed that these things aren't in the physical world. Okay, so what Edinger points out is that Dr. Jung was the first human being to realize that these things are facts. Okay, the religious things are facts, but they're psychic facts. They're not physical facts. And so in answer to Job, in paragraph 751, which is beyond where we are yet, he says, every religious statement of whatever kind, every religious statement of every religion of whatever kind is a statement of the psyche and not a statement of the physis, meaning the physical world. And so, in order to understand Dr. Jung's work, you have to understand that he believed that the psyche is real. Okay? And I believe that the psyche is real. And anybody with a little common sense knows that the psyche is real, because the psyche is presenting you with facts day in and day out. And in fact, you don't think anything, okay? Ideas come to your head and you notice that they have arrived, but you can't think anything. Okay, those thoughts come from someplace else. They come from the psyche, from the collective unconscious, from your unconscious. And you can't cook them up. They come to you. Okay, they're gifts. And so for me, the reason that I've been doing this now for 35 weeks is that I saw a video of Dr. Jung, which you can find on YouTube, and he was asked by the interviewer in the late 50s. Mind you, he was the son of a Swiss Reformed pastor, and so he was asked, "Do you believe in God?" And his answer was, "Well, very complicated, but I have no need to believe. I know." Okay. And when I saw that, I had an epiphany, which was that I too know. Okay. And then when I read paragraph 751 of this particular book, and read his statement that every religious statement of whatever kind, from whatever religion, is a fact of the psyche. It's not a fact of the physical world. And so as long as you understand that, then it's okay. Then all religions are okay. We don't have to kill each other over religious statements, right? Because they're all statements of the psyche. And so what Dr. Jung had proved through his lifetime was that there were certain elements of life that are what he called archetypal, and they are transpersonal, and what we've been proving is that they're also transspecies. And the way we have done it is a couple ways. One is this picture, okay? One of you can keep that picture. That's a screenshot that we took of an eagle in Decorah, Iowa, and under her she has 3 eggs, and she is overtaken by the mother archetype. Okay, and she will not move even if she freezes to death. Okay, because the mother archetype is so powerful in her. And then one of the concepts in Jungian psychology is that the mandala is central to all psychic things. And in fact, in therapy, when you have a dream about the mandala, it means you're reaching the end of the what so-called individuation process. And so Dr. Jung demonstrated in his lifetime that all cultures have mandalas. Okay, the most obvious example would be the Cathedral of Chartres, which has the rose window in it. But you can go to any church in Annapolis or most places, and you'll see mandalas, and you'll see them in Hindu shrines and Buddhist shrines, and you'll see them everywhere. Okay, and so what Deb, my wife, brought to my attention last week is this mandala, which is a trans-species mandala, and that mandala is created by a 5-inch long fish in Japan called the puffer fish. And that fish creates that mandala so that the female pufferfish will come and lay her eggs in the middle of it, and then he will fertilize those eggs. But it's a mating ritual. But the remarkable thing about that is that's the only example that I know of so far where a species other than human beings has produced a mandala. And there's no doubt that that's what it is, because it's perfectly geometrically formed and perfect in every way.